know how to operate a computer.
Apparently the selectmen do everything, and one was like, you don't do that right. He's right. Right or wrong, but
Just don't know when we're
you can't not post your budget, your warrant, that's a big no-no.
Alright. The open selectmen's meeting, 6:15, that's still 6:15. Board member comments, start with Mr. Thaxton.
I don't have any comments at this time.
Okay.
Oh, I guess I should say that I did attend the cemetery trustees meeting last night. Mr. Mason will be coming back to work with us, and I guess Jeremy's gonna have more to talk to us about that under non-public. Well, you are now. Cause there's somebody who applied, a young man applied for a job as a summer work.
I don't know if you officially applied, but yeah, I'm aware of it.
Okay. And because he does need help.
Yep.
And if there are a couple of burials that are looking to be done after May 1st, and I think that the new trustees are gonna need a little help with that.
Yeah, for that. So, alright, nothing else? Alright, Mr. Chief?
The next water and sewer meeting has been canceled, just because they will only have 2 members around during the time of the meeting, so the next one is pushed off until, I can't remember the date. Just
Where'd they all go?
Oh, no clue. May 8th, because they also adjusted the schedule, they are gonna be on Thursdays as well, so they'll be on the 2nd and 4th Thursday. So, yay, Thursdays are all on the line for me.
Have they decided to move, were they gonna move their meeting?
Not yet, they're still waiting on the, first off, for the stream thing.
That'll happen sooner than they think, so they better start thinking about it.
Yeah, they've discussed it, they're trying to figure out if they wanna do it here or if they wanna go to, the library, but they're still debating on that part. And
Talk about small town problems.
library trustees have had a couple of meetings, working on hiring a new librarian, interviews at some point, in the next coming weeks. That's about it from my side.
Okay. The planning board met last night. They discussed the proposed subdivision regulation amendments and the site plan review regulation amendments. They had a public hearing on it. They opened, there was no comments from the public. So basically everything just got updated in the new ordinances to meet the state's new laws and new rules. They are talking about updating the master plans and moving that forward as well. So they're supposed to be contacting Southwest Community Services for if they can get assistance on that as well. As for the rec department, the community breakfast on April 5th. I guess it was a good turnout with just pancakes, sausage, and bacon with an Easter bunny breakfast. So that was a good turnout. As for the community dinner that happened on the 12th, last Saturday, I didn't get an update on that yet. So the next event is going to be May 2nd, roller skating at Troy School from 6 to 9. And as of right now, I haven't got updated if they're going to do another breakfast for May 3rd, so watch Facebook for that one. And the community dinner will be May 17th from 4 to 6. I do not know what the meal will be. May 24th is going to be the fishing derby. The state apparently closed one of their fisheries, so we're not going to get the fish that we normally get. So everyone's aware of that. So this year
Who are we getting the fish from?
They consolidated, is what I'm being told. So they don't have the fish available for small towns. So it's all the bigger lakes and the bigger areas will get priority. So we'll get some from a private fishery or something along those lines, but we won't have what we normally do get, because we usually get it from a couple of places.
Let me rephrase it. So who's in charge of making sure there's fish for the kids to catch?
Bob Norton.
Oh, okay.
He's working on that and getting it done. So,
There are still fish out there. It's
yeah, there is still fish.
Yeah, it's-
nice to restock.
They didn't die because of COVID.
Also, this next Friday, the town clerk's office is gonna be closed because all 3 of the ladies will be at a conference that's mandatory. So Friday next week, it's gonna be closed. It'll be the first time in quite some time that the actual office has been closed, so I think they're doing a great job in there, keeping the place open. Also, I wanna let everyone know that the town clerk is now able to register boats. So if you have a boat, you wanna get it registered, you can bring it to town hall, see the town clerk, and get it done here, and it's another source of revenue for the town. So, not sure how much we can bring in from it, but to be determined. I think it's a good, and it does work. They tried it out on my boat, so.
I would add to that, if you have a boat and you want to use it in water, in this state, you need to register it.
What if you don't want to use the water?
It can sit
And
in
you
your
know,
yard.
it can sit in your driveway till the cows come home.
Also, last thing, Monday is a holiday. That's Patriots Day, the 21st, so the whole town hall will be closed. And dog licenses. If you haven't registered your dogs yet, you have until April 30th. There is a late fee, or if you don't do it on time, I'm not sure what it is off the top of my head, but make sure you get in here and register your dogs. There's a few people here in town that been slacking lately, so
You can
hopefully
do
we
it
can
online.
get that.
You can do it online as well.
Yes, that can be done online as well, so,
You want to announce the new online?
What?
You want me to?
go ahead.
This will be in the Troy Communicator coming up soon too, but the town is now offering online payments for water and sewer billing, so that just went live. So you'll be getting your paper normal copy in the mail very shortly. Those just got mailed out, but starting now, any resident that has a bill can go on there and find their account.
Nice. Moving to the 21st century.
It's 2.9% for credit and debit cards, but if you do a direct ECH, it's a flat $1.15 charge, which is pretty good. So.
Nice. That's all I have. Next, public comments. I think you're actually on the agenda, right?
Yes.
For Beth Daniels?
Yes.
Okay, so there's no public comments at this time, so we'll go right to 4A, Beth Daniels.
Okay,
You're up.
great. Have just a little bit of an outline here, and forgive me if anything that I've listed is such common knowledge that it feels ridiculous in going over it, but we're talking about something that happened almost 30 years ago, so I just want to make sure we're all kind of reading from the same page with what it is I hope to do next and how I wanted to bring the town of Troy into that conversation. So, as most of you know, Community Development Block Grant CSBG funds were used in the Troy Senior Housing Development Project almost 30 years ago. Municipality is the actual recipient of the CDBG funds as the grantee, and typically the subgrants loans go out to eligible entities as subrecipients to carry out the project. In the case of the Troy Senior Housing Project, the town of Troy was the grantee and Southwestern Community Services was the subrecipient. The CDBG loan is forgiven once the 30-year time frame has been reached, and there would be no repayment to CDFA required by them at that time. If SCS would like to sell the Troy Senior Housing property at this time, there is still remaining $85,333 that has not yet been forgiven that would be required as a repayment, and that would be due based on the time remaining on that 30-year loan through CDFA. CDFA provided the guidance that if SCS would like CDFA to consider forgiving the remainder of the loan, that remaining $85,333, they would need a written request from SCS, from Southwestern, to do so, along with a brief explanation of the reason why. They explain that email should be sufficient and that it could be sent to CDFA with the town of Troy included as well. So just to pause for a minute, so the reason that I'm here is I was not prepared to send an email out to CDFA in the town of Troy without sitting with the Board of Selectmen first and reviewing all of this. CDFA would review the request to determine if the terms of the original funding award have been sufficiently met and would notify SCS and the town of Troy if the loan can be forgiven, which would then allow the town of Troy to release the promissory note on the property. SCS wanted the opportunity to bring this to the attention of the town of Troy's Board of Selectmen prior to moving forward with a written request to CDFA. And also just noting that even if CDFA approved the loan forgiveness and we were to try to move forward with a sale, I just wanted to note that the rent restrictions on the property would remain for the next several years because we still have other obligations to New Hampshire Housing that we haven't reached a full realized term for. But that's a separate piece than this. This itself is something that we would have to work through in order to get to the point where we would be able to do that. Any buyer would be made aware of any LURA on the property as well for what
What
restrictions.
does LURA stand for?
The land use restriction agreement. So with that, of course, the town of Troy would be included in what I sent to the CDFA. I would include, some of our reasoning for wanting to do this now rather than waiting, the 2 or 3 years until it's no longer an issue. But I still wanted a chance to just sit with the Board of Selectmen and
When you say there's a few more years remaining on the restrictions, is it 2 years or 20 years or 6 years or 16 years?
I can email that information out to you. The 2029 is sticking in my mind as the New Hampshire Housing remaining period for restriction. But so does 2032. But I think I've got two different things that Greener Homes funding is in the property. And then there's one other, so I may be confusing the two dates. I can get you the specifics so that you have that. Yeah.
I mean, I guess it probably makes a difference if the restrictions, if there's only 2 years to go on the restrictions, or if there's 20 years.
For the rent restrictions?
Correct.
Yes, and I think that absolutely means a lot to any potential buyer as well.
Well, my
what am I
understanding
getting
is
into?
it's already under contract.
We have someone who's made an offer on that property. Yeah.
And you provided the agent with 5 potential buyers, all of whom were interested.
I believe so.
Yes,
There's
so
been interest in the property.
It's not
Yeah.
actually even available on the open market,
Right.
so.
Right.
If there's 2 years left on it, a 15-unit building is quite a value at $750,000. If there's 22 years, it's maybe less so.
Right.
I'm speaking to you as a member of the board who has a long-standing concern, and the board has over various configurations brought this up to Southwestern Community Services, which is the complete and total lack of maintenance on the building on Central Square. I'm not sure if it was you or someone prior to you that was in here with Keith maybe 2 or 3 years ago, and you wanted to remove the building. And you were only granted the zoning variances required for that building for the project, based on you were going to demolish the crappy buildings in the back and build those, and you're gonna maintain the old hotel, which you have units in, and you are gonna maintain the building on Central Square, which you have not done. By any possible definition, you haven't fixed the roof since it burned. It's not quite an eyesore, but getting pretty close. And as we said to you in our letter a year ago, the operative plan being let it fall in on itself, or words to that effect, is not actually considered proper maintenance. it's our understanding that you did some preliminary work to do a subdivision to subdivide that off within the last year, which was never brought forward to the town, but apparently Fieldstone did some work there with regards to a subdivision on that. I don't know whose behest, not anybody in this room's. And we did propose that, or suggest that to Southwestern, and then we never heard back on it, so.
Okay, so what I can speak to is the last 4 years, in my role here as the CEO. I think there's been this action now of selling the property, or planning or hoping to sell the property, in my mind is really phase 3 of what we've kind of put forward over this period of time. The first thing, which I believe you remember, was exactly what you said. We came before the board. We had, at that time, there were Invest New Hampshire funds available. They had a portion allocated for demo funds. We had a capital needs assessment completed by a third party. We had SVE Associates do a little bit of a rendering of green space and parking and what would take place, brought that before the board, and that is when I know we had an initial conversation about what would be some other viable options for that third building. At that time, we were talking about, what we could invest in the building versus what our return on investment would be in the units, and really struggling with a sense of like what the use could be for that. Then I think maybe a year or two later, we sat with the board. I think we had talked about possibly doing a long-term lease with the redevelopment group, and for a period of time, I think we were kind of venturing down that road.
Yep.
Going back and forth, looking at possibly some lease samples, and then we did get the letter saying we can't do this, and in that letter is exactly what you just said, which is there was a note about not maintaining the property. In that period of time, over the last year or so, we actually had to invest a significant amount of money in the 2 occupied buildings, and we've done that. And we have had people at the property looking at the third building. We've had construction companies down there getting us some roofing estimates. I don't know, so I'll have to get back to you in terms of the rent restrictions, and I'll have to get back to you with clarity on, you said Fieldstone engineer?
Oh, maybe it wasn't them, maybe it was somebody else. I was told by somebody who said they could see online, and I said, I don't even know how you would see that online, but I don't.
Yeah, because
I'm not a
that
whiz-banger
I'm
for that.
completely drawing a blank, so.
Okay, maybe it wasn't.
So with that, but I wanna double check just
Sure.
to be sure. And so with all of those things and completely understanding, we're all making decisions based on what we need to make decisions on. Now, in April of 2025, not only do I not have additional capital to continue to invest in a building I'm not using, but also, as I'm sure it's no surprise to any of you, we are anticipating some pretty major federal cuts coming up. My expectation is my Head Start programs and my fuel assistance programs are probably not going to experience budget cuts. They are probably going to be cut, and that is significant for our agency. I can sit back and let it happen to me and whine and play victim, or I can be strategic and get ahead of it and try to do some planning and try to figure out what capital I can be working with while we try to realign for what is inevitably going to happen, I'm sure. In my case, I would much rather, even if I didn't get any additional capital or revenue from the sale, if I just knew it was in good hands and would continue on as being a rent restricted property, at least for the foreseeable future, for a period of time. If I didn't gain any additional revenue to help us with realigning our agency plans, I could at least reduce our liability. So this is my third kind of coming forward, and this is really what we feel would be best for the agency, but also if we were able to find, again, a responsible buyer where it actually, we were able to see it through to fruition. The housing, the resource of the housing being in the town of Troy would not change.
You guys have done a great job of managing the rental side of the property. I mean,
But I know, and
it's
I
a nice
understand.
project, and it's worked out exactly as planned, from our perspective anyway,
Yeah,
so.
but I know, I know that building, it's been as much of a concern of yours as it has been of mine, and I do understand, and I don't wanna be, to be honest with you, we have, 40, 50 buildings? This is a unique situation where we have a portion of the property that we're not utilizing, and the idea of being that person who's not maintaining the property or a portion of the property in the manner that I usually would, kills me. I just, but there's no way I don't have
Is,
the
when
funding to
Keith
put
was
into it.
in here with you the last time I recall, I think he said something that would lead me to believe that some of the restrictions that are on the rest of the property aren't on that building. Is that true? You're not sure?
I'm not sure,
But
but that would make sense to me.
that they wouldn't be.
Right,
That would make
right.
sense to me too.
Right.
And that's, so, you may have the potential for a separate unrestricted sale of that building. I mean, I'm just giving you more things to think about, because I'm sure you don't have enough. If you were able to split it off and there was a buyer for that, it was unrestricted, then you would have, rather than do a 99-year lease or whatever, just put that on the market and make that happen as another source of revenue. You break it sometimes. The sum of the whole is worth less than the individual parts. So, I'm just saying that if that doesn't have restrictions on it, you can cut that off. There's enough options there. It wouldn't be bizarrely as I've said to Keith numerous times, the subdivision of that property off of there. I mean, your property is what it is. You have rights of way over other people's property, and all of which was intentional when it was done. You don't have some things that I think at some point you thought you had. Anyway, my only point is you might be able to cut that off and free that up and get some money out of that if what you're really doing is scrambling for cash, which is what it sounds like you're saying.
Yeah, we're financially strong, we have our reserves, but things are going to change quickly as they go through the appropriations process for the next federal fiscal year, and even as they reconcile the current federal fiscal year. And I really need to make sure that as I look at our real estate portfolio, that I'm as positioned as best as I can be. We obviously have a lot of other programming other than fuel assistance and Head Start, but you start looking at, then we go to the towns and we ask for a percentage back of what we invest in the town, and if we're not doing 5,000 households of fuel assistance across the two counties, that's a significant amount. So then your town funding starts to get reduced. So it's going to be, SCS fills a huge need in the community in a variety of ways. But we're going to have to figure things out. And this is just one way to kind of position ourselves to be able to do that.
Well, it's also, the real issue is if you knew you had 1 year of spending cuts that and they'd be done with them, and then next year it goes back to normal. But really, what you have is a situation where this is a rule change.
Right.
This is like Calvin ball.
Right.
It's just we're changing the rules and so it's not that it's an unworkable scenario. We have the same issue with the state. We just don't know what it's going to be.
Yeah.
Yes,
Right.
yeah.
as the news tells us.
So explain to us why you would like us to waive this $85,000. In reading your paperwork, it seems to me like if we waive it, you don't get it. It's just, well, if we don't waive it, we don't get it. Is that correct?
Right, so basically, I would want the town of Troy's Board of Selectmen to be comfortable with me approaching CDFA to say, CDFA, are you okay with the fact that we are not going to pay you back this $85,000? They're willing to consider it, but
Well, what if-
technically, I'm not the holder of the,
well, what happens if we say no? Do we get that 85,000?
no.
They get the 85,000.
Right, which means I would probably delay the sale, I would have to delay a sale for a few years because I
So
don't have.
if we say yes, then, and so we're gonna forgive the note if they forgive the note, is what's happening here.
Right,
They loaned us the money to give to you.
yeah,
So if we say no, or if we say yes, then that frees up $85,000. And not that they're actually getting any money as it stands, it's aging out,
it's aging out, right,
So let's tell you about the CDFA money on Troy Mills, which there was substantial. Oh. The original developer and Troy developed, there were several $1 million invested both in federal and state funds in Troy Mills.
Yeah.
Through the Troy Redevelopment Group, prior to the current development, et cetera, okay? And what happened was, and as you are doubtless aware, we've sold off the property. And each time we sold off, so we had these big balances, same deal as you have. You don't have to pay us, but when you sell it,
Well, even when they were originally gonna say, no, we're not gonna take any money.
well,
And they realized how much we're selling it for,
right,
and they said, yes, we want our payback.
right, and
of
so
course.
that's the point I was getting to.
Yeah.
So even if they tell you that, yeah, maybe we'll forgive it, then they go, oh, wait, you're getting how much for it? So, I mean, I just want you to know,
I
white
appreciate
man speak
that.
with forked tongue.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I think, for the sake of full disclosure, because it's just it's easier always, what I would probably do is list some of that information in that email that I send as well, so that they have it. Asking price, just so that
Oh, you
they.
better tell them, yeah, they're gonna find out anyway.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right. No reason to try to be covert about
You know,
anything.
I think, my feeling is, if we were getting that $85,000, then I'd go, well, thanks, but we're a little short this week ourselves. But if you're gonna be, if it's just another pass-through note, if the town of Troy was a business, as you're at least a quasi-business, you have a balance sheet. We don't really have a balance sheet. If we screw up, we just send a bill to the taxpayers. But that would be, it's the truth.
But that's irresponsible, we don't wanna screw up.
Yeah, we don't want to. But if the town of Troy had a balance sheet like a business, there'd be an $85,000 or $640,000 liability on our balance sheet that had no revenue stream, no backup, no nothing. Which, it's a town, not a business.
Do you have copies of the CBFA agreement paperwork, or do you?
The old one or this one? The DRG one or yours?
Ours? Or did you need it, or do you?
Well,
That's right here, right? That's what you.
Yeah, but you should have, I'm assuming something from the CDFA just showing the repayment schedule or the forgiveness schedule. Yeah,
I mean,
as the holders of the agreement with CDFA, which is another reason why us bypassing the town wouldn't make any sense for us to go directly.
So here's another, in the interest of full disclosure, this is 26 years ago. And much as I have loved every board of selectmen that I've worked with in this building in the last 30 years, and I have only recently become a selectman, we didn't have the best system of record keeping. And we were constantly cited for that in our financial audits. So the town of Troy effectively has no coherent record-keeping system. We do not have ready access to the documents.
Okay, I'm sure CDFA will.
I'm sure they do.
I can
I think we all believe that what you told us, what you gave us was, I think you whipped it up on your word processor this afternoon or anything. Cool if you did.
Right. So that's it in a nutshell. That our hope is to be able to sell the property to a responsible buyer who will continue on, and possibly someone who has maybe a little bit more to do a little bit more with the property as well. But we have done some recent work. I'm hoping that may be what someone may have seen or observed. And it actually required several people because we had to get a couple of different estimates on some of the work for the third building. But the work on the other two buildings was already done and was
I
pretty
was told they
extensive.
found it online.
Online.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just
Okay.
telling you what I was told.
Okay. And again, just for us to have a little bit more in our reserves as we try to navigate through the next few years and make sure that we're, doing as much as we can with what we'll have.
So the bottom line here is you're thinking that what you've got is some equity in it. You can take the equity out. It doesn't make a lot of money for you. Cash it in. You're not taxable, so you can throw that into your reserves and solve a management problem at the same time.
And if CDFA were to come back and say, we're not entirely convinced, we still wouldn't want you to pay the remaining balance back to us, we would work with that and see. I guess it would depend on sale but chances are we would postpone.
Well, you don't have to wait that long.
Yeah.
If you waited, I don't know when your other covenants expire, but you got on the market for half of what the fair market value is if you didn't have those on there. So. And also CDFA's probably got the same concerns you do. Their budget, where's their money come from?
Right.
You might wanna get this resolved before somebody decides, oh, we don't need them.
So if the property is sold, would it then be taxable to the town, or would it still remain?
It's taxable now.
We pay out, this is between both counties, but I think our total payout of property taxes last year was $505,000.
Oh, wow.
So we definitely pay taxes.
Yeah, we didn't pay that to us, but.
No, wouldn't that be?
Now,
that'd be good.
do you have a
But it's a reduced amount though, is what
reduced amount based on?
Probably a payment in lieu of tax as a pilot, and if not, it might be the reduction, the new calculation based on,
Right,
yeah.
Yeah, if you look at a property file, it's like that thick, because every year they're gonna do that.
yeah, the new
You can do your
paperwork.
paperwork.
I was just thinking, because there's a couple other apartment buildings here in town that.
That's what I was thinking of
Right,
too.
so, yeah, so if they don't do paperwork or whatever, they're no longer at that reduced rate because it's below what they're.
Right.
Well, they don't
right.
get
I don't-
everybody incomes from us.
Right, I can't realize the full amount of rental income because of the rent restrictions, so that I can make the adjustment. But once those rent restrictions are released and they're no longer required, my assumption would be whoever the property owner is may make some adjustments, and then it would be.
Right, they can go to market value and bam.
Yeah. I do.
Well, what you're looking for is a blessing from us to at least send an exploratory request soon.
That's it.
So if we worded it in the category of, at this time, we have no objections,
Right, that, we really just wanna make sure that Troy, the town of Troy isn't feeling, as though they want to put anything out there to us, to prevent us from checking with CDFA to see if this would be a possibility.
I mean, we're not, town of Troy's not getting the money anyway, so it's,
Yeah.
it's, I don't have a
I
problem.
ran on your parade.
Right,
You got,
and you guys do provide the town of Troy with a bunch of services,
oh yeah,
so I mean,
And we anticipate
appreciate
at
it.
least some of those continuing, I don't think WIC, I feel confident about WIC. We have obviously weatherization, but that's tied to LIHEAP and, to some degree BIL, so we'll see.
well, I don't know how much weatherization you've actually done in Troy in the last 10 years anyway, so.
Yeah, we've done a few, but you're right, the weatherization's much smaller, we may do, 5,000 or 6,000 fuel assistance households between the two counties, but we'll do 200 houses through weatherization, so
Yeah,
much.
primarily your assistance in Troy has been fuel assistance to indigent and elderly people. And a couple of, you probably paid some rents,
Yeah, oh yeah,
so.
definitely.
Those are the things that if you cared to look, I think is what you'd find your involvement in Troy is.
Yes, WIC, senior housing, yeah, those are the major ones, but you're right, as far as actual weatherized homes, you could probably count on both hands, probably.
Yeah, in the last 25 years.
Although the investments are much bigger, a fuel assistance benefit might be $1,000, our average weatherization investment is $15,000,
Sure, but
so-
that's not, what we, of the 2,200, 2,100 people that live in Troy, 1,100 of them live right here in the village district. And they live in older apartments, and typically that's what they need is fuel assistance. Whether I have a tenant where I include the heat, but you pay her. So it's some weird thing because I include the heat, but she has to sign off on a check and she gets her fuel assistance and I take it off of her rent when it comes in.
Right, with heat included cases, it's the assumption they pay a little bit more because the heat's included, so we can pay
It's true.
up to a portion of each month, but only a portion of each
Right,
month.
it's only a portion, right?
Yeah,
It pays out over 3 months or something
Right,
like that.
right,
Typically January, February, and March.
so,
I'll make a motion to, do you want a letter from us? What do you want from us?
I think even just the verbal, because it'll be in your
Well,
meeting notes, and then
We'll
you'll
do
get.
a motion.
Okay,
I'll do a motion to support Southwestern Community Services' initial inquiry to CDFA as to the forgivability of their open loan balance.
I'll second it.
any discussion? No discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes, it'll be in our minutes, and do you want Jeremy to write up a letter too, or?
What do you want?
no, I think that's fine, and just to recap, you'll be included in the email that goes to CDFA, so you'll see that kind of conversation thread
Sure.
as we move forward. And then the other two follow-up pieces is the information about the rent restrictions.
When do they
And the
run
years those expire, as well as just double checking on the piece that you mentioned about, the engineering.
Yeah, whatever they were doing.
Yeah,
Maybe they were, maybe it was someone else. I don't know. That was found online, but it was a reliable.
okay,
Computer
I'll
version.
check on it either way.
If you find out that your LoRa isn't 15 years out, but it's like 3 years out, we might do you a favor and just say no. Then you don't have any choice. Because that's a lot of money. I mean, yeah, 15 years, well, maybe we have to use the money now, but if it's not really way out there, you might want to just hang on and take the beating.
Cash out later.
Sure.
Current assessment is $456,500. And the last tax bill was 5,800.
5,800?
Yeah.
For the half?
Yeah.
So they're paying $12,000 a year in taxes, that sounds right. You know, if you've got an asset, that asset's with or without the building, the old building on the common, that at $110,000 a unit, which is the low side of what they go for in Troy, you're at 1.5. So it's a 50% off sale. Just saying. But we'll have to do what we have to do.
Alright, anything else for me, any questions, or?
I got nothing. Anything else?
Thank you for
Alright,
coming in.
thank you very much. And we'll see that email shortly.
Thank you.
Alright, so 4B,
So those are in the packet. I put the applications in the newsletter.
okay, so
4B.
the elderly exemptions
And veterans.
and veterans. So,
Do we want to go into non-public to do those?
I mean, I just included the map and model now.
Yeah, well, we gotta vote. Well,
Yeah, we usually say that.
I mean, they've all been, the ones that are on there tonight have been reviewed
yeah, it's
by,
public record anyway.
reviewed by Monique and put forward to approve, so. There's still quite a few left that we've had to go back and get more information for and whatever, but
but these ones here are the recommendation by Monique
yes.
to approve. Okay, so we can do that one right there. So, I will take a motion for elderly tax exemption.
Are they all elderlies? Or are they
We have to look at
just basically-
exactly what is what.
We'd have to read what the number is.
Yeah,
We have to read through the whole thing.
Oh, okay.
yeah. I'll,
We just leave out the names.
yeah. So but my question is, are they all, I don't wanna do this wrong, is one,
Right.
are they all elderly?
Well,
no
the
one's-
veteran,
I know the stuff.
Oh, he doesn't know yet, okay.
They should all be put together. Probably in the map. Oh, yeah, go. The last one, please.
this one. All right. So,
What's 1921H?
That's veterans.
I don't know what the number is. 21 H?
H.
So that is a veteran
Okay, so I
tax
move,
credit.
I move that we authorize a veteran's tax credit on map 19, lot 21H.
I second it.
Any discussions? Nope. All in favor?
Aye.
Alright. So, that's the first one.
Map 18, 218.
That will be a veteran tax credit.
I move that we
Wait, is that one?
It says veteran.
Right, but we don't know if
We
that's.
don't know black lot number.
Is it on
No, that one
It must be someplace, but it's not.
1323?
Okay, so that's the other one. So yeah, okay, so there's that one.
Okay, map 13, I move that we authorize a veteran's tax credit on map 13, lot 23.
Which is that one?
Okay, second?
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So
So
then
then,
that one's gotta be something.
that's gonna be the other one,
Just
so,
wasn't filled out with that. There's no.
Is it elderly or a veteran?
It looks like
Another veteran.
it's veteran. They just didn't put their map on it.
I move that we authorize a veteran's eligibility on map 18, lot 218.
I'll second it.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Alright. There's no discussion, so, alright, so those all pass. And those.
Yeah, so the deadline was the 15th,
50, yeah.
so I told anybody that came in, who wasn't, like, we had to go back and ask for backup financials, and I said as long as you had it in, you know.
Okay, so there's a
So
couple more.
next time Monique's in, I'm sending them to her as we get them, and, but hopefully within the next couple of meetings, we'll have the rest that we can.
So usually it's when as long as it's submitted by the 15th.
Right.
I mean, it takes a while to do the back and stuff, but as long as it's submitted by the 15th, we should be good.
Alright,
So we're a little over a quarter of the way through the year and we've spent 23% of our budget.
Well, that's good for one.
If I'm reading this right.
There you are.
Jeremy, do you know where we are on the TAN note?
I think Sarah was about to make the first payment not that long ago.
So that's just for advisory, for the budget. Got a 4D intent to cut for 100 cords on West Hill Road. Acreage of lots 200, acreage of cuts 200. Tax map 24, lot 1. Candace Cummings. I'll take a motion.
So moved. I move to approve the intent to cut as submitted by Candace Cummings on map 24, lot 1.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Alright,
Does anybody know off the top of their head when the report is due next year?
what?
The report of your cut on the taxes?
No,
I know it's due the following year, but I don't remember off the top of my head.
I don't know off the top of my head. But there should be also an excavation.
Oh yeah, we got one.
Just one. We need to.
I think it'd be after March 31st.
Actually, I believe, because I did this once, I believe that you're supposed to send them a bill when they're done cutting.
Yeah, they do a report after.
Yeah, and then you send them a bill, and it's the same thing with the excavation tax.
Yeah, so we have two that are supposed to, and I think one of them hasn't.
So we need to reach out to that other one.
Well, yeah, and you need to,
We need their amounts and all that stuff.
right, so that requires follow, but we missed out on some of these because we didn't send out timely notices.
Because you can also, if they do an intent, they don't do the report and pay the taxes, you can name the property.
Right.
I just read that, but there's one particular property that I'm wondering if one is your report or anything.
We might want to do a follow up on that one as well.
Yeah.
Okay. So you're gonna follow up on the excavation one and that other property for the intent to cut, see. Alright, 4E, building permit extension, map 22, lot 3,
This is
building
their
permit
second.
2023-09.
This is their second extension.
Uh,
Last one expired, said 3 days.
So, it says here with a maximum of 2 extensions allowed per permit. This is the second one,
This will be their second one.
so you can get this one.
Yep.
I move that we approve it's a 6-month extension, right?
Here.
1 year.
Oh, I move that we approve the 1-year extension on well, we actually be building permit number 2023-02. 2023
Oh, 09.
for,
Yeah, because our last extension, the last page, expires in 3 days.
3 days,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay.
I'll second it.
And,
I still wanna know what the hell a wet workshop is.
yeah.
I tried. to look
Well,
it
what
up.
I think of as a wet workshop, I certainly hope is not what it is.
I tried looking it up, but I couldn't find it because it says it's a space shuttle thing.
Is it on Urban Dictionary?
Well, no, a wet works is assassins.
Learn something new every day.
Yeah.
Alright, no discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. That's the building permit. Alright, sale of town-owned tax-deeded properties, auctioneer proposals. So we got a
We have 2,
New
right?
Hampshire tax deed and property auctions and from JSJ auction, that's
Yep, St. Jean.
St. Jean.
They're the ones that were here a couple weeks ago about a different property.
Yeah.
Well, so there's 2 different things, I think. One is, I think what they're addressing, which I don't know that I think is a bad idea, is if we were gonna go forward, and so, let's say we take 123 Happy Street is due for back taxes. And so we have 3 of those, it's their end of their line, and now the town needs them, we would immediately auction them off for back taxes, rather than, in Troy, typically, we've kind of held them in inventory or made deals with people.
Not the only town to do that.
No, we're not. But if we were, I think what they're more used to and what their proposal is better suited to would be is if we're gonna take, again, 123 Happy Street, or 123 Sad Street, and just turn it over to them and have them literally auction off on the town hall steps and be done with it. So that we're not, there's no dynamic between us and the current former owner, and whoever buys the money, buys it, can go and negotiate with them or throw them out or whatever.
And they pay the 10%.
They pay that, and whoever buys it pays that 10%, right? That would be better than the town of Troy, whatever it is we've done, however you want to describe what we've done historically. It's probably a little less clubby, but more of a formal and correct arrangement.
Right.
What are you looking at?
The first line of proposed sale method. Live auctions achieve superb sales values, promote public transparency, and are an entertaining community event.
That's true.
Really?
Yeah. They did, they had Winchester had like 20 of them.
Properties on one day?
Huh?
20 different properties on one day auction?
Yes, and I was consulting with the selectmen of Winchester at the time, and I said, they had all these properties. How don't you
They
just have?
sat on for,
Oh yeah, they were worse than we had. They made us look like,
our list isn't really that bad.
right,
Well, now, I mean, we were sitting on a lot of stuff, some people came in, paid their,
Doesn't make sense for the town to do it, really.
so
Besides the lack of effort.
I wanna see how we can get more revenue for the town. I don't think,
well, this is why I'm saying, if we're just taking a property, we're fixed at 0. If we take this property back for 123 Sad Street for $3,000 worth of back taxes today, the most we are ever gonna get on that is $3,000.
Yeah, whatever the fees are.
That's the law.
Yeah.
If it's worth $1 million, we're not gonna get any more for it.
but it's not gonna be taxed either, so it's not revenue coming in.
Correct.
So,
So in the case of, we'll just, for argument's sake, we use the properties on Forest Road. So we have 3 lots there that were taken for, I think, $2,800 in back taxes. We're never getting anything more than $2,800.
so any other work that gets done is not gonna benefit the town of Troy.
Correct. So if it's, and you can't collect the taxes or the interest. So actually, if they had been sold at auction, again, for back taxes, whatever we got over the back taxes, which is stuck at that $2,800, I think it's
Wait, you
$2,800.
can't get the interest on
Nope.
top of it?
No, you can't get anything.
You can only get the what's back.
That's why the buyer's premium comes off of the buyer's side. That's it. You're not gonna get a dime over whatever was owed in back taxes on the day you took it back.
Yeah, well, we're not getting anything right now anyway.
Correct, but my point is, if we had gotten rid of them when they came into inventory, if we pushed them back out the door,
We would've been making more money.
we would have made the same, we'd have been making more money because we'd have our money. And
Somebody else is paying tax.
Somebody else is paying.
so
taxes.
whatever we would have collected, even if we collected $10 a year in taxes.
I don't know why the town of Troy's been sitting on property.
Well, it's how they did things. It doesn't matter.
I'm just trying to think of a way we can lower our taxes for everyone, but we need to have revenue coming in. Why are we sitting on
Well,
properties
if
that are not benefiting?
you don't have that many properties that you can sell.
Not anymore, I mean, we, over the years.
Right.
Last several years, we've been, putting things back on the,
We brought in, but once we get through this inventory, then we have to say, what's the plan going forward?
well, we got another 59 potential coming up, just so you know.
59,000?
No,
Notices that went
59 notices that just went out that they're pending liens.
Well, they're gonna get paid.
Right, so I'm sure if you take 10% of those, 6,
Nah, I don't even think you're gonna get that many. It'd be $6,000 for one of them guy.
but,
The,
so,
if you look at the number of properties that we had to take back for taxes, I mean, we went through the one last year.
well,
And then it's-
we sold it.
And we have one that was technically on the docket this year, but we didn't do anything with it. So,
Right,
I mean, it's, we clear this out, we're not gonna have any others left, and it's just gonna be what it is.
and it should, and so that's where you go to, these guys should come in as they come in, we should just get rid of them.
Get rid of them.
Sitting on this there is no money in unsold inventory, is that not right,
So,
Mr. Chase?
That is correct.
so what do we wanna do then? Do we wanna have the auction, it's not gonna make the town any more money than what the back taxes are?
Well,
Or do we list it with an agent,
I
that money will come off their fees, we still get our back taxes,
think are we talking about Forest Road now?
or any property, yeah.
Well, I think if we go through the list, and I just saw it in TJ's hand, is it in this file?
Yep, that's in the back. Flip another couple of pages, do the thick packet,
Exactly.
and then the smaller packet,
Up to like 10.
So-
and then you'll hit it.
Oh,
That's
somebody's
on the
gonna
back.
look at, they've got this nice little map thing in here.
Yeah, that's how they sell some of their properties.
Oh,
They
okay,
did a very thorough job.
that's good.
I mean, half of it is their,
Past all that.
half of it's their background.
Well, all right, so let's take a minute and look through the list.
Oh, actually, that is the list of the.
It is, right.
Oh, shoot.
So, all right, the Troy Fitzwilliam Town Border, Potter's Pond. We could send letters to the abutters and just offer it to the abutters, whoever they might be. I don't even know where the hell that is, but,
It's a landlocked property.
yeah, I don't,
So whoever owns 5 or 4 would want the property.
it's, well, you would send a list to both of them, is the town map is map
4 lots.
4 lot 6.
So looking at that, there's 4 who has, I think that's all of this.
Well, no, it's just that little gray sliver there, TJ.
Right, that's the property
It's somebody in Fitzwilliam.
and it's landlocked. I mean, it's,
Right, if it's worth, it's 0.83 acres. Where is that?
let's find out.
So, while you guys are discussing that, I'm gonna use the restroom.
Sure. I don't think you need to hire anybody to do that, I think you just send them a letter.
Yeah, that one is kind of what it is.
Where the hell is that?
Oh, go down. So it's between Troy, Fitzwilliam, and Jaffrey. So there's Scott's Pond.
Is it in there?
I think it's gotta be like right in here.
Can you tell by the tax map? No, it's on the corner, right? It's where Jaffrey, this is Jaffrey, this is Fitzwilliam, and that's Troy.
Better find it. Better. Okay, so one is Jaffrey, one is.
No, Fitzwilliam, Jaffrey.
Alright, so Fitzwilliam, Jaffrey.
Yeah.
So when they come together, it's like almost.
Potter's Pond right there.
Is that Potter's Pond?
Is my guess.
I don't think that's one of the. So this property is definitely landlocked, but it's not on that.
Can you see the town line
Let's see if we can.
there? It's William.
Fitzwilliam, Jaffrey.
Could just look at the tax map.
Yeah, it'll probably be better on looking at that thing.
Jeremy, you wanna get us the tax map?
And I can. This gotta be way over there.
It's map 4, lot 6. Here's 4.
Yeah.
Tiny guy.
That's out
Gap
from
Mountain?
Gap Mountain Road. This is out literally in the middle of nowhere. So you write to that guy, and whoever that guy is in Fitzwilliam, and say, what do you give us for this? Honestly, if they gave you $100, you'd be all right.
But yeah, the tax bills.
And they pay the transfer tax and the deed prep. All right.
That's what we want to do, that one?
Well, let's go through this whole list. Before we talk about anything on Forest Road, let's come.
So let's bring Jets back up.
Let's.
Marlborough Road is the next one.
The next one is Marlborough Road.
It's 2.5 acres.
That's 10-5A. Potter's Pond, yeah.
Potter's Pond, it's literally in the middle of nowhere.
Right.
It's literally.
Right, you wanna write to that guy, Robert and Jean Ford, and say, what do you give us for it? And you wanna write to whoever owns this piece, this big piece,
And then also John Wiley.
who probably owns that piece.
Yep, he owns that piece and this little small piece, and then
Right, what that was a road or a fence or something.
they're not gonna want it.
Private land, no, they don't.
So the big piece that's like the whole other part
Right, so
is
10.
decided for them. So it's gonna be either that one or them, one of those two. To that little one right there.
Alright.
Lot, map 10, lot 5A.
2.5 acres.
10.
5A. Tax exempt town of Troy.
We have 5B2.
Okay, that is not anything that we're ever gonna sell and should be taken off of this list. This is the future cemetery place, exempt state of New Hampshire. This is up at the, ball field, I believe. And that's Kyle Smith's father, is 5.
Yeah, we need to send a letter to you about that 20 by 20 small little section there.
Yeah, it's actually 32 by 25.
Oh.
And that is lot 5B. And 5A is not something that should be sold.
So 5A do not sell.
I don't believe you want to sell 5A.
It's tax exempt.
Well, it's because we own it.
Right, but we've owned it for so long.
It's
Steve
deeded in
owned it
town in 2007.
We've owned it for 17 years.
Recommendation: sell at auction with other properties.
Well, that's their recommendation.
So you're saying that the other big one exempt state of New Hampshire is the cemetery property?
Well, I'm not sure. What's 7? 59 acres.
Seven's
It's
the
ball
ball
field.
Yeah.
And that, I believe, is Lawrence. Jason Lawrence.
Let me get to Marlborough Road, I can tell you exactly what
Okay.
all of it. If I just go Marlborough Road, right? I'm horrible at spelling.
This was purchased for the bypass. I believe.
So the state just sold the big property from Manhattan.
They did?
Yeah, they did.
You guys.
Oh, the one up on Monadnock Street, yeah.
Alright, where's
For 54 grand.
Oh, good.
Marlborough Road? Never shows up in this damn thing.
Troy Road? It's Troy Road and Marlboro,
Or
Marlboro.
Old
Troy.
Marlboro Road. I don't know how you look at it. Oh, just.
You're there. Here's your,
Yeah, which way is it on here?
you're going wrong. Monadnock Street,
Marlborough, there we go.
then you're
Follow it up,
right there. There you go, that was it.
So town of Troy, this one is.
And that's the town of Troy.
Right.
Yeah, so this is the town of Troy, this is the town of Troy, what's 6?
6 is Mackey.
Joshua Mackey.
Yeah.
Okay. So, that's Kyle's father, and this goes between the two of them.
And it's only 66 feet of frontage.
Well, it doesn't matter, it's grandfather's lot. So
Right, but if someone wanted to put a drive line there, there's
It doesn't matter, they still got grandfathered. As a building lot, you can't deny them that. Everybody's entitled to one driveway cut.
Yes.
So okay, so that could be sold.
Oh, you know what? No,
Which one?
Why not?
I believe that is where the range is.
In here?
In the back part.
Oh, well, that doesn't mean it can't be sold.
Well, it's cemetery property.
No, it's not. We got it by tax deed in 2007. All right, well, so there's that one. We don't have to do anything.
So what are we,
Marlborough Road, this is the one that's in Kyle Smith's father's front yard.
Yeah.
That's
Send it to Kyle's father, or
Send it.
Kyle, tell him to make it all.
send a letter.
for B?
10-5B, yes.
10-5B, send a list, there is only one abutter, it's, what is it, Robert Smith III?
What was the determination for 5A?
To be determined.
So you're talking the guy across the street?
No.
Because the one that's Kyle
Smith 3,
isn't it
Mark,
right?
oh, this is what we're talking about now,
Yeah.
that's the 5,
It's literally right in his front yard.
right, it's 25 by 33.
Yeah, that would be that one.
Harry Smith III. So it says Harry J.
That's
Smith.
his name, yeah.
Yeah, right, so you send Mr. Smith a letter and ask him if he'd like to buy it. The same thing with that squib. All right, Monadnock Street.
So I'm gonna ask this and I'm gonna be dead serious.
Mhm.
How is that worth $17,000?
Location.
That piece of
location,
land in
location.
front of his house,
Yeah,
it's not.
It's assessed at it.
Well, this is,
This is,
well, it's a set, but we own it, so we haven't filed a bitch with the assessor.
True.
If it was someplace where you could
because if you look
use
at the
it,
next one, $700, I'm like, oh
yeah, if they
That,
said,
that one's totally landlocked and makes no sense at all.
right, so this is what you learn when you look at assessments closely. This is why they're guidance. A third of assessments are correct.
this is
A
the
third of
one,
them are high and a third of them are low.
this is the one that we were approached with from,
Yes.
Yeah.
Bill,
He's already got his letters.
he already what?
They already got their letters, so.
They,
Letters.
on that one?
One of them called, misread the letter and thought I was saying we were taking his property. I said, no. He's like, I pay all the time. I said, I know. I said, no, if you want to buy this. He goes, no. I said, okay.
Okay, so that one you've already dealt with.
so those two are off the list then. So 8 and 9 are off the list.
8 and 9.
8,
Correct. 10, Quarry Road. This should be a park. This should be moved over to land that we've permanently retained. That is the little,
that's a triangle.
turn around.
it is the place where people cut through. It used to have a gas station on it.
Years and years ago.
And Arthur Bowers, when it stopped being a gas station, he cut it into an apartment, he rented it out and people lived there. It was covered with tar paper. And the town took it back from Arthur when he was settling up all of his tax deeds and stuff with the town. And all that is, we should retain that for a future pocket park.
Yeah.
So it should be on this list of town-owned land.
Correct.
So 10 gets moved to town-owned land.
That's correct.
Told.
Okay, Route 12, 13-6A. That's a place where Route 12 got moved and there's a vacant land in the middle. Right there. This is another situation where we should write to the people that own this piece of land and ask them if they want it. It's a wide spot in Route 12, and you can see that when you drive towards Fitzwilliam on the right-hand side, you can see where the road used to go. That's what that is.
Oh, okay.
Hold on. Okay, so it's
That's the pull off is what you're talking about?
No, it's past that.
Pass up?
You're headed down, and you can see where the road kind of went over there, and I think there's don't know if there's a bridge or a culvert, but it looks like there should be.
Okay, so you're telling me to go reach out to
Yeah, Alan Tomlin.
Alan Tomlin for that one,
Okay.
because he's the next nearest one.
These, right, it's only relevant to him.
He's the one who's got a trailer parked right up the road on this little private road.
No,
Yeah, he does, right here.
he has a pretty nice house.
There's a little trailer parked right there, I've seen it.
Yeah, but he's got a nice house back.
Oh yeah, he's got a nice house back there.
Yeah, he has a very nice house.
You can see it from the map.
Number 12, we already sold.
Yep.
Right, that's long gone.
That's alright, so then 13 off Mackey Road,
Off Apple Dodge Station Lot.
3310. 20 acres.
Appears landlocked, so may be appealing to abutters. I would say you wanna sell this to, you wanna write, again, where it's landlocked, right to the abutters. Who are the abutters? 3310.
Alright, let's see, so. Now we have to look at the map to get an exact location. Alright,
Yep.
3310. So
Yes.
Mackey and Dwindle Road.
That's way up in the ass end of the
Winnell.
universe.
Alright there, got it.
Winnell, yeah.
Okay, so you've got 4 people that 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 people that would be in, that would be ones you gotta write to. Okay, you got the corner lot here, which they're
Right.
the trust isn't gonna take, so you don't have to worry about them.
Right,
You've got the Cummings brothers,
they're not gonna take it. They've got more land than they know what to do with,
then you've got
and they're all dead.
Then they definitely want it.
butcher that.
Stacy, look, that is Gary Lang's daughter. That abuts Gary Lang's land, and who else do you have? I think Jerry, what you do is you write to all of the abutters, even the society.
Yeah.
Vinnie Trainer.
I don't know who that one is.
I didn't think I've talked, no, it is, but I know.
And the
So-
last one would be.
Yeah, well, that's all right. His money's green.
Yeah.
So I think you write to them all, Jeremy, and see if anybody wants to take it.
Sounds like a plan.
You don't know. All right, so with regards to Forest Road, I mean, there's nothing in here that we don't already all know. I think that with Forest Road, in the case of those, I think we should wait until after this legislative session, because there's major changes coming from Concord, good, bad, or indifferent. And, that's just my,
Well, there's several different parties that are interested in Forest Road.
correct,
We're not gonna make any money except for on 2 of them, and we're gonna get tax back, and we're gonna be able to charge taxes once we get rid of them.
correct. However, even though there's only 2 that we are gonna make money on, the amount is, if the pending bills pass, which is gonna make it so that you can't deny a building permit
On a class.
on a class 6, those lots are gonna double in value.
So we'll wait, well, only 2 of them.
I think,
Yeah,
I
we can
think,
wait.
I think you just back burn, I think, let's wrap, we have a half a dozen of these to deal with. You've got 2 that need to go on the permanent town retained roll.
Yeah.
The one at the end of Quarry Road, what the hell would you do with it? You couldn't get a building on there.
Micro gas
So,
station.
I also
Micro
wanna-
charging station. Oh wait, it's used as a turnaround for people to drop off their kids because apparently the bus picks up there.
So I wanna point out that the selectmen selling these properties, whether it be Forest Road, Quarry Road, whatever, it's for the best interest of the town. It's not for the best interest of any one beneficiary in this town. Yes, there's people that are abutting this, they're gonna get letters. If anybody else is interested, they can write the selectmen and say, hey, I'm interested, give us a Give us a number to look at. Give us a proposal. But it's for the best interest of the town. I wanna make that very clear. Not any one particular. I know there was comments made during our last selectmen's meeting, and I just wanna make it clear. It's the best interest of the town.
Well, I assume that and correct me if I'm wrong, but I assume the intent to go the auction route was to make it more open and fair.
Well, we've done it before, but to review the concept and see, and it really doesn't make any, and see what we can, is there, the best case scenario for the town is, and the fairest thing, is to get the best price possible.
Right.
So, and we also don't wanna be slammed with a lawsuit by somebody who says, well, you could have gotten 50, but you sold it for 20, and yeah, I owed you 2,500 in taxes, and so I got the 17,500, but where's the other 20 that I was supposed to get?
Right.
Some people are highly litigious. So the other thing, which is, if you can't do good, don't do harm.
Right.
Because if we sell something and we get $2,500 in taxes and we have to spend $10,000 in legal fees,
We're going back.
We lose.
how'd that work out?
Let's not find out.
Yeah,
So
so,
again, best interest of the town
right.
as a whole.
So, also Perkins Pond, map 1 lot 12, I took away it.
That's 1 lot 12,
Keep going, I'm on page.
5 acres.
Yeah, we're not selling that.
No.
So, this should be,
That's in the permanent retention center.
okay, that's on the permanent retention side.
Those are,
Okay.
those are the ones we are keeping because we need to keep them,
Right,
because they're one thing aren't better.
right.
And then the properties with the unknown, we can't do anything until
So,
those liens go through.
land acquired through tax collector's deed. And so we have the intersection of Route 12 and Quarry Road, that needs to get moved. What other one did we say to move?
The one on,
Well, if you go, it's funny, if you come over here, schedule of town properties, the one on Monadnock Street, which is 0.25 acres, I think that's the one, that isn't it, there's some. Yeah, they got that in there at 15,000 when Kyle Smith's father's front yard.
I mean, that's why I never did. It's supposed to be off Monadnock Street, so,
Which one? 1226?
no, this one, oh yeah, 1226 is the other one he's gonna move. No. 1226 was gonna be,
That's the one we already sent letters to.
yeah, letters to, so that's a letter.
Okay. There's another one we were gonna move.
Well,
Corey,
10-5A, we didn't really decide on.
10-5A was the 2.5 acre lot that,
that's that one that's in the middle of the
Yes.
ball field, so that one's the other one we need.
well, it's not in the middle of the ball, it's next to the ball field.
Yeah,
So we gotta take that one off.
Well,
Or,
we don't have to take that one off.
well, we move it to land permanently.
I don't know that we I think we wanna come back, that is actually, that's a viable,
maybe we
lot.
should see where the police are. have it
yeah,
running
we
that
should
first.
see, we should see, that requires further consideration, so I guess the only one we're moving is the one at Route 12 and Quarry Road at this time, is that right?
Yes,
And we're going to write the abutters on the Fitzwilliam Jaffrey line one.
Yep.
Route 12, one,
That squib the land on Route 12.
Yep.
We're gonna write Alan Tomlin on that.
and then it was the
Off
one-
Richmond Road, is that the one up, that's a landlocked one?
Yeah, 20 acres.
And then what was the 1/4 acre lot on Monadnock Street?
Well, we already had an offer for them, it's a letter subject.
Oh, yes, and you're gonna write, and we've written to the neighbors already on that?
Yep.
Okay,
We know we're gonna get at least one offer,
okay,
So I think we're good
so.
for.
And one of the,
yeah,
so I think 3 letters went out, one of them already called and said no thanks.
okay, that's
You're
fine.
gonna take my property? No, we're offering it.
Yeah.
Please buy.
To sell you.
And then we have a list of unknown
Yeah, so all but the first one are the ones that we just learned that we need to start the process with the lien, so we can't really do anything with those for a few years anyway.
The second one is the Superfund site. I know.
That's
Oh,
what I
yeah,
thought.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
what I thought, like, there's no way that.
That size, I know exactly what that is.
Yeah, we don't want that one. We wanna leave that as.
Well, actually,
Maybe, but
they, with what we heard, there might be some options for the town to take it over without having to pay for the
Monitoring?
testing.
Yeah, the monitoring, you don't want to pay for
yeah,
that.
we don't
Well, the
want.
monitoring isn't bad. It's they wanted to get reimbursed for all the stuff they pulled out already.
Yeah, no,
Yeah, that's
that,
fine. Yeah, sure, send a bill to the former owners of the building, let's see how that goes.
Well, that's what they're trying to do.
that's,
Actually, they're fine.
they already did that. That's why we wound up with the mill building. And then there is we own a lot on Mill Street. Where's that?
We don't like what? No,
That's
The
per
parking,
parking.
the parking lot? Yeah, that's
Yeah.
on, that's on the town list,
Yeah, town owned.
Oh, right there.
map
No parking lot.
182.
Wow, it's really that big.
Oh, yeah, that's not bad. Yeah.
Which we want to retain that one.
I'm not sure why, but okay.
We need to
Well, if you
actually,
if you wanna get rid of
when
that.
the current contract is up, we need to, that actually needs to go to town vote.
For anything over a year.
I'm all familiar with that whole conversation, but
Yeah.
I'm thinking, when that contract is up, we need to look at what we're doing with that and why we own it.
Because potentially we can make a real good money on that one.
That's correct.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm only saying retain it right now
Yeah.
because it's under contract with.
Correct.
Yeah.
When that expires, which I think is the end of this year,
Don't think so, but
well,
I think it's
whatever it
26.
is, you know, that, as it sits, that's easily worth $100,000. It's probably worth more than that.
It'd be worth more if there was.
how did we ever get that in the first place?
Huh?
Was that part of the mill?
That was part of the mill.
Parking lot.
Well, no, it was actually a mill building.
All right.
The parking lot now.
Further discussion on town properties?
No, I think that's good.
All right. 4G, independent contractor agreement, welfare administration.
I move that we accept the draft as submitted.
Very long for that. That's what happens.
Second
Yeah,
it.
attorney involved.
Any discussion?
That's what I was just about to ask. So this is all ran through.
So I mentioned to Joe that, I was like, oh, we could maybe use the one that we used for Mike, and he's like, I never saw that, I sent it, and he's like, this is good enough, so, this is what we got. Mike's is like 3 pages, but.
This is what we got back from Joe.
Yeah, I did the, second
4G
part.
versus for whatever that,
Well, the one we did with Mike on our own, that I think he sent me,
that's this one.
no, it's not in there. It was like 3 pages for code enforcement and.
Yeah.
zoning. And Joe didn't think that was sufficient, so this is his
Oh, this is Joe's version.
response, yeah.
Okay, is Lisa okay with this?
I sent it to her, well, I originally sent it to her a while back, and then I did some light, I just filled in like the blanks that he left, and then I did the statement of work myself. And I sent that to her today, and she hasn't responded yet,
Okay.
Any more discussion?
No, I'm good with those as submitted.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right.
They're approved.
Now, is this didn't we just approve a withdrawal from the trustee of trust funds?
but, yeah, they want more money.
I'll explain it. So
Okay.
this was because they wanted to add, so the first one was for cameras inside the building and covering the main entrance.
Yeah.
This will cover the 2 emergency exits as well, on the outside of the building.
Oh, okay.
They originally were like, okay, we didn't need them, and then
Yeah, I
new,
need to.
new change of guard, and they said, yes, we do.
Okay.
So,
Do they
I
have other
move-
cameras outside or no?
I move that we approve the withdrawal of $2,800 from the Gay Kimball Library Expendable Trust Fund as submitted by the library trustees.
second it?
All right, for discussion, town policy is anything over $2,500, we have 3 quotes. Are we gonna?
They've already had 3 quotes, and these were the winners.
Okay.
So it's the same company that,
Just adding on.
it's just adding on this time.
Okay. So-
Because they had this in the original quote, but there was a option, they decided to waive it first, and now they want it.
Okay, so as long as it.
Yeah, they had the 3 quotes.
All right.
Well, they got 2, and the other 3 people they reached out to said,
Okay. So, all in favor?
Aye.
aye.
Alright, that done?
And originally the trustees thought that fund didn't have an agent, the capital reserve fund is town meeting vote, this one is selectmen and trustees.
Selectmen and trustees.
'Cause years ago they got rid of one of them and rolled the money over to the other, and then like 10 years later, they're like, oh, we wanna bring that back. It's
And
kind of
are they still having the issue they were having with the people who can that will write the check now?
well, it's a funky situation because they don't actually, there's actually no check to be written, I actually just go online and transfer it. But by law, the trustees are the overseers of all trust funds, and they're supposed to,
Trustees of the trust funds.
Right.
they're supposed to
That's
sign
what
off on
it's
a
a
voucher
little-
every time, no matter what.
Circular, like what the hell, wait, do we
Yeah,
have to do
which
that?
trustees are which, yeah.
So that was the issue, is the trustees of the trust funds didn't think
Right.
they had to sign off on
They
it.
said, A, you don't have permission to spend it, which isn't true, because they did the research, and B, they're like, we don't oversee that, but they oversee all CRFs and all ETFs, and
Did you give them supporting documentation so they can?
we're working on it, yeah.
Okay.
I wanna do it in a, manner that's not, but this is one of the things where like you come in from other towns and you assume that everybody does it this way, cause it's, and I was like, oh, okay. So, it's a learning experience for everybody. But yeah, I'm surprised the auditors didn't flag it, but really all it is a.
Well, we probably gave them enough other stuff to flag.
It's a form saying, yes, the trustees met and you're not trying to buy a truck on a computer file and go forward. And then I'll go on and I'll transfer the money, it's kind of silly, but.
Okay, any more discussion on library, ETF?
No.
Old business, town security camera policy, approve amendments. So the only amendment is what's in red?
Yeah. That was just based off our previous discussion was. The policy doesn't speak to John's cameras at highway, but I figured we just leave that.
They don't actually record it,
Oh,
for the most part.
really?
Well, they
Oh,
do,
yeah,
but,
somewhat.
but it's all based on like in a home system there. And those ones have been around longer than,
Are they as old as the gas tank?
what?
Are they as old as the gas pumps? It was funny about that, is I sent out a bunch of emails trying to get quotes on updating it, and I don't think a single company responded.
Alright, and you mentioned you and Dave both have access now, and.
Yep. Dave has
Since
his,
you gave up. Yeah. Okay, so, you just gotta, I'll take a motion,
So moved.
Second, to go into discussion purposes,
discussion,
we need to put something in here that tampering with any of them is a fireable offense or something along those lines. Because I do know that some people keep moving cameras, and it's been brought to my attention when other people go to other places that they've been moved and they're faced away from the whole parts. It needs to be either they get written up, or
I don't think you wanna fire somebody because they moved the camera accidentally or unintentionally or didn't know.
if it's on purpose.
I do think that
Yeah, I
the
think it's,
camera above the clock there needs to get
yeah,
pointed
Dave's
differently,
Dave's just doing that, so
so,
I think he's gonna readjust a couple.
why don't we put it this way? Any change of the, angle of the cameras, either voluntary or involuntary, is subject to approval by the Board of Selectmen and a determination that it was done for unnecessary or inappropriate reasons may result in termination. May be in the sentence.
I can agree with that.
Alright.
Second?
Yes, that's that.
that was discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Oh, let's see what
Let's see what we do.
we do. Yeah, I was like, I'm like, huh?
Town credit and debit card policy, approve amendment,
So this is a fairly new policy from last year, September 5th.
What,
And-
policy around?
Credit card?
Credit card one.
Oh,
We've all been breaking.
I mean, we probably should add it anyway, but the auditors really wanted it, they gave us a list of stuff, but I realized that when we were letting John borrow the card, that every time we use it, we violate the policy.
Anybody uses it.
Yes. Unless it's Dick Daxton, and Dick's not aware. stuff with this car.
Apparently, I've been signed for this stuff for years and didn't know
I don't even know why you're.
Alright, so
I
it's just
do.
that one,
Yeah, for now,
it.
it's
So we
later.
don't really wanna take 20 minutes out of the meeting for that.
okay,
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second?
any discussion? Down none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Probably shouldn't buy their own policies, right?
Should.
No, we could change the policy.
Um, 5 days, oh, that's gonna stay. Alright, consent agenda. Dick, you wanna do what you normally do? Well, this one, or
Wait a second. Oh,
payroll and accounts?
I'm looking for it. What number are we?
Or six.
6A.
Yeah. I move, hang on. Somehow my book got messed up. Okay, I move that we approve payroll for checks dated 4/14/25 in the amount of $21,099.84. Payroll for checks dated 4/18/2025 in the amount of $22,374.67. Accounts payable for checks dated 4/7/2025 in the amount of $200. Accounts payable for checks dated 4/10 in the amount of $9,713.65. Accounts payable for 4/14/2025 in the amount of $200. And accounts payable for checks dated 4/18/2025 in the amount of $299,994.91. Of which $216,743.08 is payable to the Monadnock Regional School District.
I second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes.
I move that we approve the April 3rd minutes of the public meeting of the Board of Selectmen as submitted with the corrections noted.
I'll second it.
Any discussion? None? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I move that we approve the non-public minutes as submitted for the April 3rd meeting as submitted.
I'll second it.
Any discussion? Like none? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Should these be sealed?
Uh,
I guess not, it's public record.
Yeah, I mean, if somebody requests somebody's rate of pay, they gotta get it anyways.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, the only thing I thought about adding the entire list that we also approved, but I couldn't. If somebody requests that, they get it too. Some towns, every year in their annual report with their
Everybody's
salaries, yeah. Which, I mean, newspapers do it
So
for.
we used
school
to put,
districts
for several years, we put the list of the largest property owners, the 10 largest property owners in the town.
Right.
And I don't know why this, I don't know when they started doing that or when they stopped doing
and stuff.
that.
We did it in our software, but yeah, you don't really know when you do it. Well, then they used to report like every single time, every payment that came in, and who owed what.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It just depends upon
Cause
how many pages you're trying to fill out in the town.
one of the
report.
towns recently emailed all of us and said, oh, does anybody report in their, who's on the naughty list? And we're like, not anymore, nobody does that anymore.
Well, it's
It
only,
used to be done, but.
they used to.
So everyone can go to that one person like, shame, shame.
It's not hard to figure, you can figure it out if you try, but. So in the signing folder, there's a bunch of back minutes, so those are all gonna get updated, cause I've been naughty on that task lately.
Okay. 7A, New Hampshire DOT driveway permit letter.
Yeah, this is a letter from the state, basically saying that it's online and reminding us of our duties as a town, which is be doing. Thank you.
So just advisory?
Yeah.
Okay. Good. New Hampshire DES dam letter.
Yeah, so I gave John a copy, you probably saw that email that he responded. Usually the state comes in and they want, ahead of time, they like to know who's gonna be there or whatever. I went to the last one with him with Perkins Pond, and they're so short-staffed, he's like, you might be lucky if you get a report back within a year, so that's still the situation. but-
Kyle asked if this can be sent to the Conservation Commission. Can you
Yeah.
send this to
What is
them?
that?
Because I guess the dams actually fall under conservation.
Yeah, one of the members went the last one.
Yeah.
What?
So the dams, apparently fall under conservation commission.
So they're gonna start paying to maintain.
There's a member there that likes to come to the inspections.
Yeah, they wanna be involved, and I guess they have the advisory say on it, and they
I
wanna be
think
involved.
they're only advisory, I don't think they're,
Right, then, so we,
that seems reasonable.
I don't have an issue with them.
Paying for it.
No.
But I guess the purview of dams actually falls under them as well, so I don't know how much it falls under, but it's not gonna hurt to have another set of eyes and asking questions, you know? So yeah, if you can just make sure the conservation gets that one, 'cause that's, next 7C,
And then this is
any power transmission report letter?
a standard letter that the assessing company sends to all the towns to send to the power companies to get a list so they can do their utility billing properly. I don't know why I probably could have sent it out myself or whatever, but they send it pre-written with the selectmen there or whatever, so if you guys sign it, send it out, obviously, what you know about it. It's standard.
Yeah, I think we do this every year.
Nothing very exciting. Right. So yeah, we had an Eversource one too, but they sent it without us having something like that.
So we don't need a motion for this, or?
Not necessarily decide it. You're good.
Okay. Move on. Admin report.
Yeah, so Dick had brought up the impact fees that we realized was too late last year. Carol, the planning board consultant, was going to come to talk about that and guide us. The issue is that every Thursday at 7, she has another commitment and she would have to leave here by 6. We meet at 6, so she couldn't do Zoom or in person if we're doing 6, so.
Right.
But
Until your session's done, we can't
Yeah.
even go any earlier, right?
Right,
Well,
it's not pressing today anyway, you know.
I think, yeah, like we could have done today, because they aren't meeting, and they're not meeting next week, but they are meeting on May 1st. So I would suggest that we do a Zoom meeting.
Well, unless we move it to 5, she can't come either way.
Right.
Oh.
So I had
So we have to do ours.
Well, what, or we could do it on a different day.
Yeah.
Why don't we,
It depends on how quickly you wanna have it.
I
know you
think we
wanna
should start this
planning
conversation sooner
Right.
rather than later.
Right.
Get the ball
Be-
rolling. down.
Well, because it's gonna we need to get it all figured out before it goes to town meeting. And it's not as easy as I thought it was.
Start now and
So I
hopefully.
think it's 2006, at town meeting, they passed an article to potentially fund a study, but I don't know if that was ever actually done.
This town
Yeah,
fund the study.
for impact fees. I think it was grant money or something, but there's, one day, we were talking about it or whatever, I was like, how did that happen? It just popped up. I found it.
Well, then we have the authorization to do it. But what happened, I can tell you what happened, is we have issued more building permits in the last 12 months than we've issued in the last 12 years.
Yes.
And that doesn't even count the mill.
Right.
And, I believe that the process should be applied to any impact fees that go here. But what happens in Concord or not, the reality is when you see 100 lots selling for $100,000 on West Hill, people are gonna be building houses in Troy at a rate that they haven't done since the 1790s.
Using services.
Well, actually, about half of Troy's housing stock was built between 1785 and 1800.
Huh.
So, literally, you could take this place must have been crazy. They had 2 brickyards and sawmills and just like beavers.
Mine was built in the 60s.
Well, when do you think your session will end? I don't know.
That'll be June, but we can see what Carol's schedule looks like. I mean, I could meet on another day. I know that we'll be at it. My problems on Tuesdays and Wednesdays is committee hearings. And they've been running long and late.
And also other meetings that we have going on.
Right.
Whatever else we have,
Planning
yeah.
board and
So,
back and
you know,
water and sewer.
we could do I think we could do a joint meeting with the planning board.
On Wednesday,
So
she'll be
can
there.
you-
As long as I'm not coaching, I'm fine.
Yeah. Why don't you see what that looks like to her? And then you just have to publish it that we'd be there, Curtis would be there anyway, and just be TJ and I come in for it. So,
Well, the planning board have to be willing to give us their time to listen to it, right?
Well, it'll be
I'm
beneficial.
she'll be there anyway, right? Either Zoom or.
Yeah, she'll be there anyway. Well,
well, they're gonna have to, I think they have to be, I think they have to be involved in
Yeah,
the
that's right.
impact fee process.
I think that there was supposed to be a study done on it, right? Before we can put it in.
Well, maybe,
We're gonna find out.
we're gonna find out.
But yeah, you're right, they'd definitely be involved. I don't know the ins and outs.
I think they're part of the process, so.
Huh? I think I got it.
alright, anything else for admin report?
I think I'd like to have, I would also like to schedule a time to discuss Depot Street and have a meeting. It wouldn't be a hearing, but it's a public meeting on rearranging Depot Street and Old Keene Road and Prospect
We
Street.
never actually did that yet.
We kicked the can down the road.
So far, yeah.
We wanted to close off Old Keene Road.
Oh, you're talking for the bridge work.
For the bridge work there, and then make the fix permanent on Prospect Street and Depot Street. So we don't technically have to have a meeting, but I think we ought to have a public meeting to discuss just informational and say this is
We would probably want to do just a public meeting just for the,
correct.
just for in cases, because you know there's gonna be quite a few people. I heard the stop signs were big in town.
Yeah,
We need more no parking signs.
yeah. Well, we'd have to enforce them. Why spend money on signs you're not gonna enforce?
Wasn't there one, over by the deli that keeps getting stolen or something? Cause I've asked before, like why we don't have one or something, or,
A no parking sign?
no, stop sign, or maybe it's the yield sign that keeps us.
No, there's no sign.
No,
Yeah.
not anymore, it was
It's the
taken
yield
out.
sign, right, that got good.
No, there was a stop sign a long time ago,
No,
and
a
that
couple
got,
years ago.
yeah, that got taken out. And then there should be a yield sign for people who don't know how to go into a roundabout.
Well, and
Well-
there should be another sign for the people,
Don't
there should be a
stop.
sign that says, if you're stupid and you're from Massachusetts,
Come on in.
this is a rotary, keep fucking moving! Because they stop and they're looking there
Oh my
like,
God.
what do? Do I drive through the deli?
Yeah.
Jesus.
Well, it's like merging on Ohio too, it's worse here.
So I don't know if they're doing the complete streets again, I forgot to ask the planning board, but, I think having another discussion with moving, they're getting the same lights that are out in front of the church and the library.
In
The
front of
flashing
the town
lights.
hall,
Well,
or on the common.
on the common, because people are still not stopping for people. I see it out my window every day. People, kids standing there waiting for a car to stop, they don't.
Yeah,
And up on where the deli is, that crosswalk there, because everyone's looking to see if somebody's coming looking this way,
Right.
and people are walking this
When
way.
I cross there, I make sure
Yeah,
right.
and up on the north side, going across Route 12 there, because
Yes.
people are just coming into town and.
Well, they're rolling down Route 12 and there's like, whoa, there's a town here.
oh shit.
So
That's what those
Town's
31
gone, wait.
yeah.
So we're looking at 4? Well, it would technically be,
Okay, we're not gonna get 4 of, it was like $50,000, which I don't know why.
Part of it was because we got reimbursed or we got it at a price match.
Yeah,
So, I was gonna bring it up to the planning board and look into that and doing the same thing, cause we got a complete streets grant for that one there.
right,
And we had to match like 20% or something.
right, but it was wicked expensive.
Yeah,
I mean, I think that we need all of those places, Curtis, I agree with that, but, I mean,
we talked about doing the sidewalks at
It's-
School
it's-
Street too.
Yeah.
If we could get the grant, I think that would be fine, if there are other grant sources, I think that would be fine. I don't know that that's where the town should spend $200,000.
Well,
I mean, that, at $50,000 a whack, and
Yeah.
4 of those,
I don't remember how much it was and how much we had to pay and all that.
I could be
think we
wrong.
look back at the thing and looking into getting grants.
Huh?
talking 6 of them. Because we have
6 of them.
technically 4
Okay, so
crosswalks on the
if
common.
they're $50,000 a piece, that's $300,000.
Do one per year or something.
Right, I'm just thinking in the
I think you
future,
would get
just
it
start
too,
looking.
you can apply that.
And I think as the way you alluded to earlier, you know, a lot of these funding priorities, I can tell you, there's no money coming out of Concord.
No?
No,
No, a lot of money has been cut
yeah,
for programs that everyone thought were gonna stick around or be good, but money got cut, so.
right, so like, little things that are
Nobody
new
checked
on
their
the,
car soon, so.
little things that are new, like the state library, which also happens to be the oldest state library in the United States, but that was removed from the budget.
Interesting, so.
Not like cut, they just removed it.
So,
As you said, it's not like.
they got
it's
closed, they got closed or private donations?
Well, we're still in this biennium, so no, we'll find out when the next one passes. They're gonna have to keep the lights on and the coal in the furnace, so,
Coal.
yeah, the money for the historical.
What was
I
that?
mean,
How much is that budget a year, do you have any idea?
yes, $1.6 million.
That's a lot of money for
Well, it depends upon whether it's your 1.6 million or
Sure.
it's a wheelbarrow
that. I
full
don't
of
have that
nickels.
much, so.
The problem with the state budget and any of these budgets is you can make the case for any one thing. But how many
Things.
$1.6 million checks can you write before you're writing a $16 billion check, and then that's where you're in trouble.
Yeah.
And that is legitimately the problem.
So,
Alright,
the other thing is I talked to Dave and Mark about potentially adding spots out here. I think we should really do that sometime.
We already voted to do that. Tim Burns was on the board at the
Just didn't
time.
happen.
yeah.
We need to have the parking lot striped and have those striped in.
We're gonna add one or two.
I believe we can add 2.
Because I told Mark and Dave, I obviously would check with them and make sure there's enough room for the,
Park on June?
emergency vehicles. I don't want to block them, obviously.
No, but we can certainly
Right.
avoid doing
But
that.
I've told like the assessor and the new welfare manager that when you're here to work, please park over there because
Mhm.
one person, adds up next, there's literally more.
Well,
We're not gonna have a lot of parking anyway.
I think I completely agree with you. Did you have any luck with talking to Eric about helping you get
Mhm.
bids, and how'd that go?
Good, he's gonna work on it. I gotta follow up with him. see
Okay.
what with it, but-
I mean, striping the parking lot's pretty easy to get done. You
John said Dave has his own stuff to do it. I don't know if that's,
can, you see it done?
No.
Okay.
but I had mentioned something about the emergency management trailer that was always there, and somehow it got told to Dave that like he needs to go tomorrow, and I never once said that. It was more like, oh, well, can we find somewhere else? So that got relocated, which is an extra spot, but
I don't know where it went, do you?
I don't remember exactly.
And then we need to address, Chris, the town clerk has got their storage room sorted out. But there are other issues in this building that we need to prioritize. Some of which are related to heating and cooling. Some of which are related to general maintenance, and I've put the parking lot in that general maintenance category. But I'm not prepared to talk about that tonight.
Right.
But I think you're right, we should plan on having that conversation. I think, because I know the windows are scheduled to be done on the second floor.
We got him.
I know that we have a bid to put shades on the second floor. The second floor, whether we like it or not, is in fact heated, even though minimally. So we need to consider that. Shades or blinds, but it really would help reduce the heating costs up there. I think, we should probably looking to having the insulation of the attic improved.
What, you don't like the blown in stuff?
No, it's fine, but it settles, TJ.
Oh, I know, I go up there.
Yeah.
It's settled.
It may have been 2 feet high 50 years ago, but now it's like 2 inches.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, so.
Yeah, somebody asked about the work they did to close off that back area, broke window. I don't remember what it was. Oh, what happened? I told them, oh, it makes sense. I go, yeah,
Right, the window's been broken for
Nobody
14
used it.
years,
close it.
That's the original date.
right,
Yeah.
so. We can go around this building, maybe we can schedule a walk around in the building, but, and these aren't necessarily, again, it's a wheelbarrow.
We know what the big ticket item's gonna be.
Yeah,
I
and,
don't think we wanna see that one.
right,
Better it really depends on what, once they get up there and figure out what it really needs, I guess.
Like I said, the pillars are perfect.
Does it just need paint or is it?
Yeah.
The pillars are in good shape. It was the
The
railing that needed to be
rail
replaced.
was blown off in the wind.
And beyond that, I mean, painted, yeah. But I've got.
Yeah, it needs to be scraped and painted.
And how many of the facings in the clock don't work?
3.
One facing doesn't work.
Oh, so
And
three
the
out of
one, the
four.
one that doesn't work is the one that faces the common.
I'm working on
Go
that.
figure.
It's kind of scary to pull off something and you're very high in the ground.
Well,
I have
is-
straps.
That's why I don't go up there.
not, just out of curiosity, is there a way to just turn the unit around?
No, what I'm gonna have to do is I'm gonna have to pull that one out,
Oh, okay.
pull the back one out, shift it over the whole mechanism,
Yeah,
and then float. I just need someone else to go up there who's not afraid of heights, who's gonna work with me up there.
who would that be?
Because that I have my own harness
Yeah,
to strap myself in, but they're also gonna need a
You're
harness.
crazy, man.
it's not
You
me.
just automate it and never have to worry about it.
I would have trouble standing on top of this table, so I'm definitely.
My first time I went halfway up the ladder and I was like, I'm not going any further. It's not-
Because he had
Not that
a couple of nails and a couple of screws.
Not that I'm afraid of heights, I
Literally.
just, I don't know. It's,
The ladder?
No, well, the ladder's held in by 2 screws. But,
Oh, okay. Sheetrock screws?
I don't know, but it rocks.
So who was doing the clock before you took it over?
Ed.
Before that,
Prior,
Tim Burns did it.
It's a job that nobody really wants.
Tim Burns, no, that's not true, actually. Tim Burns' father-in-law wanted to be we were gonna have a position of the, what was it? The, something of a clock or whatever.
In the clock.
Keeper of the clock.
Second.
The hardest part is if we could find someone who could do the brass cog for a decent price, we could easily just put a new cog on there.
Did you look into that one guy or?
Yeah, I've looked into quite a few.
He's
Most
like
of
the
them
only
are,
guy that I know of that is.
most of them are too high for.
There's one guy that's like the clock guy. But I think when we automated the clock my first time, it was like 10 or 12 grand. But once you do it, you can't go back.
Oh, I don't think we were looking to do
But
that.
Fitz Weatherby did a special on the guy that used to wind the clock. It was pretty fun. Now he's gone.
Spam calls, spam.
Yeah, that's all I had. We just went off topic with there.
Spam calls.
But especially with that second apartment parking spot that Chrissy usually uses, sometimes not being around and stuff.
Yeah.
We don't have much parking. So. We never will.
Alright, anything else? I don't think so. I think we do need to go into non-public for legal.
Okay,
So,
I'm gonna go have a cigarette then. I move to go into, well, you're gonna declare a recess and we'll vote to go into non-public?
Yeah.
well, do you wanna do it now or the camera and then we can?
Yeah, okay, I move we go into non-public for, under RSA 91A, :3, :2BL.
On consideration of legal advice
Yeah.
or legal counsel.
Yep.
Or. No, 3(2)E, consideration of negotiation for pending claims or litigation which has been threatened in writing.
Well, actually, 2B, we need to talk about compensation. There's a compensation issue that came up last night.
Okay, so let's,
Let's do compensation first.
alright, compensation is the hiring, no.
Hiring, fire, compensating of a public employee.
Hiring a person,
No,
just A, 91A, 3(2)A.
Okay, that one.
It's weird. They sent
So moved.
Again?
Second.
Second, any discussion? No, all in favor, or roll call, Dick,
Aye.
TJ,
Aye.
Curtis, yes.
Alright,
So our next meeting will be May 1st, 2025 at 6 PM here. And we're gonna be going into non-public for litigation after we come out for,
alright, I'm gonna go for the cigarette.
we're gonna go back in for litigation.